Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bapak Irman Gusman yang saya sangat hormati, the Governor of Jakarta and other governors from various provinces in Indonesia, the Vice Chairwoman of the House of Regional Representatives, the Chairman of the Chamber of Commerce, ambassadors, excellencies, honorable members of the Business for Environment Summit, honorable captains of industries, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It's a real honor for me to be here tonight in our dinner dialogue in celebration of the International Year of the Forest, and to introduce to you our guest of honor. When I was appointed as the chairman of the Investment Coordinating Board just about 13 or 14 months ago, one of the first speeches I had to make was at the climate change workshop that was organized by the London School of Economics and the ASEAN Secretariat. It was then that I realized that in fact I was also supposed to be working on another climate issue. That was the investment climate. The investment climate in Indonesia is one that's predicated on an investment roadmap that seeks a future where every Indonesian citizen understands what a green economy is all about. Seeks a future where every Indonesian citizen understands how to act upon it. Seeks a future where every Indonesian citizen is committed to the implementation and the reduction of the carbon emission by 26% or 40% by 2020. Seeks a future where everybody understands that Indonesia will play a very instrumental role in making sure that Indonesia and many other countries in the world represent the main lungs of this earth. A future that every Indonesian understands that there needs to be a balance between an industrialized nation and a green conscious nation. The National Council on Climate Change reported that Indonesia emits about 2.2 to 2.3 billion tons of CO2 per year, or about 8% of the global emission. It is the world's third largest emitter after the United States and China. Out of this number, around 80% comes from land use, especially peatlands, and also forest. Worldwide, forest and peatlands act as biological carbon sinks, slowly lowering the amount of greenhouse gases in atmosphere by storing atmospheric carbon in biomass. These carbon sinks are threatened by deforestation and decomposition, which leads to greenhouse gas emission, either slowly due to degradation and decomposition or quickly through fires. Imagine if Indonesia could attract funding or money by reducing these carbon emissions, by which Indonesia could be making an offer in terms of a new approach for a global deal to mitigate climate change against a backdrop of international efforts to deal with the problem. It can do what it always aspires to do in terms of developing a pro-growth, pro-poor, pro-job, and pro-environment. If we take Indonesia's emission from peatland or land use, which is around 1.8 billion tons of CO2 emission per year, at a few dollars per ton, that translates to a few billions of US dollars per year, which I know will be a significant amount which can then be invested in communities, new technologies, and other investments that could improve the livelihoods of everybody in Indonesia. This could be a solution where actions to mitigate and reduction emission are in line with our development objectives. It's not an easy task But realizing even half of the amount that I was just talking about will be a significant amount that would mean a lot for every ordinary citizen in Indonesia. I am a perpetual optimist. I believe that actions will mean results. And these results are more than likely to be positive for every Indonesian in this country. The land use sector is gaining momentum in climate change negotiations, and initial steps in the right direction are in place, exemplified by our President Susilo Bambang Yudhoyono's initiatives in terms of having signed agreements in Norway for reduced carbon emission, and also several other bilateral and multilateral commitments which we have committed thus far in the past year or so. Our efforts in intensifying investments in eco-friendly initiatives have also fruited in our ability to attract investments in geothermal capabilities and also hydropower generation capabilities in the provinces of Java, Sumatra, Bali, and also North Sumatra and Papua. These are likely to mean a lot of things for not just all of us in our generation, but hopefully our kids and grandkids in the future generations to come. The illustration just described above also highlights the significant role that the private sector could play in climate change mitigation and adaptation efforts. And I'm very happy to see commitments from business leaders in this regard. It is our hope that the Business for Environment Global Summit, which will take place in Jakarta in April of 2011, will provide significant contribution to the important dialogue and action. Let me now turn to our guest of honor, someone who has been and will continue to be a true soldier in advancing the climate change agenda. Introducing someone of his stature is both easy and challenging. Easy because I will never run out of things to say about him. Google his name and you will get about 10 million results in about 0.11 seconds. And I can tell you that it's not because he's a senior advisor to Google, but it's because he is what and how he has been. Because when I Googled Sergey Brin, one of the founders of Google, it only gave me 855,000 results. And it took me twice as long at about 0.22 seconds. The challenge of the course is to make sure that I do justice to all his great achievements, but I'll try my best tonight. Former Vice President Al Gore was born on March 31st, 1948. The son of a former U.S. Senator, Albert Gore Sr. and Pauline Gore, raised in Carthage, Tennessee, and Washington, D.C., where he received a degree in government with honors from Harvard University in 1969. After graduation, he volunteered for enlistment in the U.S. Army and served in the Vietnam War. He was an elected official for 24 years representing Tennessee in the United States House of Representatives and later on in the United States Senate. He was then inaugurated as the 45th Vice President of the United States on January 20th, 1993, and served for 8 years thereafter. During the administration, he was a central member of President Clinton's economic team. He served as the President of the Senate, as a cabinet member, and as a member of the National Security Council, and also as the leader of a wide range of administration initiatives. Currently, not only is he a family man, but he's a businessman, an author, and an environmental activist. As a businessman, he's the chairman of the Current TV, an Emmy Award-winning independently owned cable and satellite television for young people. He also serves as the chairman of Generation Investment Management, a firm that is focused on initiating a new approach to sustainable investing. He is a member of the board of directors of Apple, a senior advisor to Google, and a partner with the venture capital firm Kleiner Perkins, Caufeld & Byers. He's a visiting professor at Middle Tennessee State University and the founder and chair of the Alliance for Climate Protection, a nonprofit organization designed to help solve this climate crisis. He is the author of the best-selling books, Our Choice, A Plan to Solve the Climate Crisis, The Assault on Reason, and Earth in the Balance. Of course, we have all enjoyed An Inconvenient Truth, which was not only a best-selling book, but also an Oscar-winning documentary that graphically portrays the threat of and solutions to global warming in 2009. An Inconvenient Truth also won a Grammy Award for Best Spoken Word Album. In 2007, the Nobel Prize Committee acknowledged Mr. Gore's contribution as an environmental activist by presenting him and the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change with the Nobel Peace Prize for informing the world of the dangers posed by climate change. He has indeed raised people's awareness of the climate change issue to a whole new level. And it is truly appropriate that he is here tonight for our dinner in celebration of the International Year of the Forest. I would like to end this introduction with a quote from his Nobel Peace Prize acceptance speech. "We have a purpose. We are many. For this purpose, we will rise and we will act." Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Al Gore.